Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we are immersed in the gorgeous artwork of Jessica Rue. We're taking a look at Tarot of the Woodland Wardens today from her Woodland Wardens series. She has an oracle deck of the same name. So this one says, explore the enchanted realm of the Woodland Wardens, where creatures of field, burrow, river, and sky represent the traditional figures of the tarot. In this companion to her oracle deck of the same name, artist Jessica Rue's richly detailed illustrations accompany thoughtful reflections rooted in folk wisdom, history, and myth. From Amber Lotus Publishing. This was sent to me for review from the wonderful people over at Andrews McMeel Publishing House. I do appreciate it, along with this gorgeous tapestry with the hardware to hang it up, which I'm keeping to the side. I'm going to put that in my toolbox so that when I am ready to hang it up, I will have it because I'm good for losing stuff. But this is gorgeous, and I had to use it as my tarot cloth for the next couple of months. So you'll be seeing this around in the backgrounds of my videos, as well as in the on Instagram and everywhere, because this is where I do all the card stuff. In the inside, we just have the about the author. She's Nashville based, freelance illustrator. Wonderful. It says a seasoned reader of tarot, but this is her first original tarot deck. I know that she illustrated a deck for Barbara Moore, but this is her first deck that she conceptualized herself. So excited to see what we get. Cards are oversized. These are nice and large. If you like a larger card, they are oversized. I can tell just by looking at them. Let me get something to compare them to. This is a normal tarot card size, this card right here. So you can see they are just slightly larger than a normal tarot. I mean, they're not gigantic, but they're definitely larger than a normal tarot card. Okay, so we have a nice chunky guidebook. This is very chunky. Ooh, who do we think that is? What do we think? The King of Swords? No, the King of Wands, maybe? Or the Knight? No, he's got a crown, so it's got to be the King. I'm not sure. We'll find out as we go along. Find out other things by the artist. Okay, we have a table of contents, introduction, how to use the cards and guidebook, suggested spreads, major arcana, minor arcana, wands, cups, arrows, yeah, swords. So the arrows are swords. So the King of Swords, I'm guessing, and the pentacles. Acknowledgments about the author and some notes. What are the notes? Oh, just space for notes in the back. Ooh, lots of space to write notes. So if this is a beginner, if this is your first deck, or if you like to take notes in your guidebook, you got lots of space back there. It says, I've always felt more comfortable around animals than I have around other people. As a painfully shy person, I'd much rather spend my time at a party petting a dog than making small talk with strangers. I prefer quiet afternoons in the garden or nights out, tending to the plants and finding ways to invite wildlife into my peaceful place of respite. When I first started reading tarot around a decade ago, I was drawn to the idea of interpreting a picture. Similar to an art history lesson, tarot, after all, examines and deciphers the patterns in life, with particular attention paid to the interaction of imagery with the querent's life and experience. I learned to read tarot using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and I fell in love with Pamela Coleman Smith's original illustrations and limited color palette. In particular, I found myself drawn to the cards that included animal companions, such as the Fool's White Dog, Strength's Tamed Lion, and the Queen of Wands' Black Cat, forever etched into my mind whenever I turned to the cards. I thought to myself, why not use all animal figures instead of just a few? While the Woodland Wardens Oracle deck pairs one animal with one plant, this deck is a little different. I've kept many of the same compositions and environments as the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but replaced the human figures with animals, slightly anthropomorphized. Each animal aligns with the message behind each card, with symbolism drawn from history, mythology, folklore, and the nature of the animal itself. This deck spans more than the woodlands. It's included creatures of the prairies, mountains, deserts, rivers, and sea. It is my hope that the cards will help other animal lovers better understand the world around them. It is an ever-changing and difficult place, this world, and I'll take all the guidance I can get from my favorite messengers, the animals. Great. So that's what we have. We have an RWS reinterpreted with animals as the main characters. Got it. Talks about the structure of the cards. It looks like everything is as we would expect it if you're a Rider Waite Smith reader. Themes and symbols. Okay, so she's got listed here the the themes and symbols that you see repeated throughout the cards: ivy, moons, and moonflowers. I'm guessing those are those white flowers that I keep seeing. These must be moonflowers. It says the moonflower, like the moon itself, is a symbol of intuition and the mystical, an enchanting nocturnal bloomer. This flower and its celestial namesake are both reminders to trust our intuition and embrace the unknown. Roses, two pillars, lemniscate, and ribbons. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to see recurring. This gives a little bit of explanation on how to use cards and what to do with the journal prompts. Explains a daily draw and some questions you can ask yourself. There's a couple of spreads in here: Wheel of the Year, Celtic Cross. So as we go through, we have full illustrations for each card and then a page of write up on the other side. But the illustrations are not in color, which is fine because you've got the cards in color. The title and the number at the top, it tells you what's in the image and what's going on and how it relates to the energy of the card. And then you've got some upright and reversed advice, basically. So if you pull the card upright, what that could mean for you today. If you pull the card reverse, what that could mean for yourself or your querent. And then there are a couple of questions. And at the bottom is just the page number and then which suit you're in. So we're in the cups on page 97, 9 of cups. And it's the same layout for all of the cards. Let's see what's in the back. Acknowledgements about the author. There's our artist and author. There she is. Love her hat in her studio. And then space, like I said, to write. And that's it. That's the book. And we'll read one at the end. They do not come edged. And like I said, they are slightly oversized, but not quite as big as like a Blue Angel tarot deck. Not quite as small as a normal size tarot, like a standard. Here are the backs. Very pretty. Are these those moonflowers? No, these are different flowers. Very pretty though. The white, and it's serene. This sort of like a dark, I don't even know. I think it's a black. I think it's black, but it's like a warm black with this cool white. Very nice. All right, let's go. We've got our Fool, the Magician. So this is a magician card, obviously, but because it's Woodland Wardens, we're in the woods, right? So instead of being at a table like you would see in the RWS magician, his table is this tree stump that he has all of his little items on. And here are those flowers again. I like these flowers. That's cute. And then we've hung the the pomegranate between the two trees. I like the way she did this because it's giving all of the imagery that you would expect to see, all of the symbolism, all the symbolic language of the RWS, but with an animal. I think a raccoon is a great choice for a magician. And the High Priestess, of course, we love an owl on a High Priestess card. That's nothing new. We've seen that before. We have the rabbit on the Empress, making complete sense. And she's brought these backgrounds to life, the backgrounds that in the RWS, because of the technology of when it was printed, can sometimes fade and can be a little difficult to snake out. She's kind of brought them to life here. I love the seat. I don't know if that's wood, like a stump carved out, or if it's stone, but it's cool. It feels woodland. I think that this is very symbolic to use a sheep or a shepherd here on this card because of all of the religions that we see sheep and lambs and shepherds in, all of those Judeo-Christian, even Islamic religions. So we have lovers. Are these hummingbirds? We still get that apple and fire imagery with a ladybug instead of an angel. The chariot, we have donkeys. They're very stubborn donkeys in their Greek Greek regalia, a Roman regalia, maybe. Um, Strength is that beautiful lion she spoke about being tied up with a rope by the mouse. Interesting. So, if you'd like to read it for yourself, it says the strength card celebrates our inner strength and depicts the delicate balance between the wild and the tamed. A mouse perches on the nose of a lion adorned with red roses. She ties a red ribbon around the mouth of the creature, ensuring he will not devour her. As Shakespeare noted in A Midsummer Night's Dream, though she be but little, she is fierce. Even a small and timid mouse can subdue an unruly beast. And then she goes on to mention things about the lion and the mouse from Aesop's fable, and how the story reminds us that mercy comes from a place of inner strength and that even the smallest among us can grant freedom to others. Something that I think would have made this perfect for a beginner to study symbolism in the tarot with is if they would have added the color symbolism in the guidebook. But you know what? They can get that from any tarot book because this is so close to the RWS. I feel like you could use this deck with any tarot book that is based on RWS, reading the RWS, and the symbolism will be, you'll see it there in the cards. So that's wonderful. So if someone wanted to have this deck instead of an RWS, it could work, I think. The Hanged Warden is a possum. Interesting. Death. Ooh, this one is a little gruesome, I think. The skeleton of the wolf or the fox. Is it a fox or? Yeah, I don't know if I like this one. It feels a little gruesome to me. Maybe because I'm soft. I have a soft spot for foxes. Temperance. What is this? A partridge or something? Let me look it up. This is a quail. And it says this bird is often seen as a symbol of refuge because of its ability to nest on the ground and hide in plain sight. Quail are also associated with shelter and sanctuary in Greek mythology, most notably in the story of Asteria, a Titaness who turned herself into a quail to avoid the advances of Zeus. When she dove into the water, she transformed into the island of Delos, which later became a haven and hideout for her sister Leto. I think that's wonderful. Transformation, alchemization, um, the blending of water and earth, all of that is there in that story. So, and I learned something new. I didn't know anything about that. I'm not big into Greek mythology, but I like that there's, layers of that here that I can learn from in the guidebook. The tower, the star, the moon, this instead of a dog and a wolf, we have a fox and a wolf, maybe, or a fox and a regular dog. Interesting. The sun, judgment. What are these? I think these are these cicadas? I'm thinking cicadas because of the rebirth, reincarnation, like kind of feeling of the judgment card. Aren't they reborn every couple years or something like that? I don't know much about them, but I know they make a lot of noise. I know that much. The world. And this is a butterfly, which is perfect. But these, I'm not sure. Let me look. Let me see. Yeah, cicadas. Okay. And this is the dragonfly for the world. And the fireflies for Ace of Wands. Yay. I was just looking at a deck that had fireflies and I was thinking, I don't see those too much anymore. I used to see them all the time when I was a kid. Four of Wands. And these are looking very RWS and easy to recognize. Five of Wands. But even so that they're easy to recognize, I think also something that's going to make this fantastic for a beginner is the titles are clear. Look at the chicken. I mean, the rooster. That's wonderful for the Eight of Wands. The titles are clear and also written out. So we don't have any, what do you call them? Roman numerals. Because I know sometimes people do have trouble with those. Page of Wands. So I feel like these can be used by a lot of different people. Are these is that an axolotl? The Queen of Wands is the cat. Up here. I'm wondering, because I was looking down here, I'm thinking to myself, is there an extra paw here? Because, no, maybe, I don't know. Because there's a ribbon around her paw there, but I can't tell if this is, it looks like both of her paws are here, but I only see one paw there. So it looks like both of her legs are here, but I only see one paw. And then those two. So maybe that's the other paw. I'm not sure because this is her tail. I don't know what this is wrapped around. It's a little odd what's going on down here, I think. Maybe my eyes are just not seeing it. The King of Wands. This is cool. I like the patterns. Ace of Cups. Two of Cups. Beavers. Three of Cups. Are these eels? Four. Okay, so we're all underwater here. And, okay, and now we're above water. Five of Cups. Frogs. Praying mantis for the Seven of Cups. It's interesting. And I like that we've changed the things in the cups to match this praying mantis's world. I guess this is meant to be a snake, but it could also have been a worm. And then, the ghost is a praying mantis without its head, or maybe with its head covered. I don't know. And then you've got instead of a person's head here, or the angel or whatever, you've got the praying mantis head. Another frog. Or maybe a toad. Nine of Cups is the alligator. 10. Are these rhinos? Not sure. Trying to think of water animals. Page. The knight. Love his hat. The queen and the king. A badger and an otter. Okay, so now we're on. So he was the ace on the back of the book. Okay, so that's the ace of arrows. Okay, cool. The two of swords or arrows. The three, the swan song, right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking swan song. Four, oh goodness, this little ruffle. Five, the six. These are boar. The seven of swords. Eight of swords as an armadillo trapped here. The nine of swords is, I'm guessing this is some kind of butterfly or moth or something. Maybe a moth. Yeah, probably a moth. 10. Page. The knight. Ooh, the queen. And the king. All right. I feel like it's cool that we're not um just getting like all the animals from the element. So for like the water suit, I noticed that we also had this meerkat here, and there were a couple other animals that may live near the water but not actually in the water, or they aren't amphibians or actual underwater creatures, but they live near the water and they interact with the water, or maybe they're emotional creatures, and their lifestyle fits the card in that way. And I think we found the same in the sword suit. It wasn't all air. We had some that are very smart, tricksters, and this one is, I'm guessing, because it's trapped in it's trapped and scared, a lot or something like that. I think it's interesting that we get a mix. So it's not just, it doesn't get boring. So here's the pentacles. We have the little tortoise here. And the two is a snake. And the three, of course, are bees. We've seen that before. The four of pentacles. This is a duck. Like a, yeah, I think it's like a duck. Big duck, one of those big ones. The Five of Pentacles. Deer. One has a little wounded leg. I do like this path towards the sun in the background there. So we didn't try to bring in like a random hanging um, window hanging in the trees or anything like that, but we still get the feeling of there's somewhere to go. There's hope in the distance here. There's help to be found over the horizon and a pathway to get there as well. So I like that. The Six of Pentacles, the Seven, Eight. It's very cute. Nine, the 10. Ooh, I don't like that. The Knight, the Queen, and the King. Okay, and those are the backs. Okay, let's shuffle them and read one full entry. Okay, so just to recap, as far as the production, these are no edges, and they are slightly larger than a normal size tarot card. So this is a standard size tarot. And then up against the Blue Angel Oracle, they're a little shorter. So they aren't quite as big as they're a little bigger, but not as big as like a Blue Angel card. I would say they're probably as tall as like a Hay House card. I just don't have one out right now to show you. And the card stock is it's thick, but not super thick, and it is cardboardy. I do not think it has a core, so I think if you're going to riffle, you might get a bow. You're going to want to riffle both ways. My hands are too small to riffle these, so I'm just going to do like a drop shuffle. And they are very matte, so they don't stick. But as I'm shuffling these, I would say they are, if you have small hands, these are going to be a little bit cumbersome, because for me, they're wider than a normal tarot deck and taller. So, they could get a little unwieldy if you are not the best overhand shuffler and you have small hands. For riffling, can't really tell you because I can't riffle them, but I can do this drop shuffle thing, and that seems to be going well. So yeah, not too bad. So that's that. But I will say that they're not super thick, but they're also nice and sturdy. All right, let's pick a card. Okay, so we have the Empress. Let's read for the Empress. If you'd like to read it for yourself, you can take a screenshot. So it says, the rabbit sits upon her throne of natural stone, observing the prosperity of her empire. Wheat, a symbol of abundance and wealth, surrounds her. It is a beautiful harvest, and the Empress is sure to share it with those she nurtures. The rabbit is a symbol of Astor, I'm not sure, the West dramatic goddess of fertility and spring and namesake for Easter. Moonflowers, just beginning to open for the night, surround the Empress, and red ripe pomegranates decorate her collar, symbolizing fruitfulness and plenty. Upright, the Empress invites you to take on the role of caregiver, perhaps to someone in need or even to Mother Nature herself. Be sure to share your resources, whether that's knowledge, time, or wealth. Reverse, empty promises have been made, either by yourself or another. You may have good intentions, but sometimes you lack the bandwidth or ability to fulfill all your obligations. It may be time to turn inward and focus on becoming the best version of yourself before helping others. And the questions here are, how can I support my community? How can I nurture myself as well as others? So let's try a couple of pairings. The first one I wanted to try was the Familiar Field Oracle. This is another animal-based deck that I thought maybe could just, bring some practicality to a reading. Because this is an RWS-based deck. I feel like you can use it for anything, right? So need a nice practical oracle to go with it. All right, so we have the three of swords with the nine of wands and devotion, sociability, and order. This penguin here. So there's some kind of an issue or a problem with the social order going on, the social order of things. One is definitely being attacked there. So we've got the Fool and Death with power, swiftness, and ambition. Interesting. I think, I don't know. I'm looking at it thinking I don't mind it, but the white border is kind of throwing me off. But if I ignore that, the artwork I like together. The Chariot with the Emperor. Why can't I get these straight? The Chariot and the Emperor, okay, with magnificence, compassion, and history, the Whale. So if I chose one, like if I just said history with the Chariot and the Emperor. Feeling with the Lovers and the Ace of Pentacles. This also comes with a keyword of pain. Energy. Kangaroo with the Page of Wands and the Three of Cups. You know, I don't think I mind this as much as the white border does catch my eye, but other than that, I like these together. So if it didn't have the border, I think I would love these. With the border, I like them. It's fine. It works. And it's keeping me in that animal energy and in that sort of soft look as far as the artwork goes. So I could work with this. So that's the familiar field. Okay, something a little bit more bold. This is the Liminal Forest Oracle by MJ Cullinane. This oracle just has one keyword. It's definitely more bold in its imagery, and it's very busy. But because the tarot deck isn't busy, I feel like maybe these could work. So let's just see. Walls with the Knight of Pentacles and the Two of Wands, standing up against the wall. Transformation with the Four of Wands and the Page of Arrows. The Four of Arrows, which is the Four of Swords with treasure, and the Ten of Wands. See, now this, I want to like this, but something about this is throwing me off. Maybe I did need that border. I don't know. Let's put a little space between them and see if that helps. Let's try that. All right. Now let's see. Growth with the Ace of Arrows or the Ace of Swords and the High Priestess. Yeah, I think that my problem here is that the tarot deck, because it's so bright, is washing out the oracle, and I can't see what I'm supposed to be looking at in the oracle, so I'm losing the imagery for my eyes. So I don't love this matchup. I wanted to love this. I thought this was going to be great, but but somebody else might like it if you have different eyesight than me. This is the Devil with transition and the Queen of Swords. And let's try one more. The Ace of Cups with detachment and the Hierophant. That is the Liminal Forest by MJ Cullinane. So just to bring a human element to it, this is the Tony Guardians Oracle deck by Tanya Bond. It is humans and animals. So it's like a mashup of human with animal guardians, or sometimes the humans are like they morph into animals, or the shapeshift and things like that. So it's a mix. And I wonder, I'm just curious how these would go together. So let's take a look. So we've got the ferret with the keyword royalty, with the Six of Wands and the Six of Cups. Lots of red happening here. Zebra and cycles with the Wheel of Fortune and the Six of Pentacles. Interesting. With her turning her back to the help being offered from this little mouse, I'm thinking, wondering if she has some sort of ego driven tendency to ignore help or not to pay attention to it or accept it, to just turn away from it. And this cycle is what is continuously causing this barren land around her, perhaps. I don't know. We've got the Ten of Cups and the Knight of Swords with longing. So she's longing for the emotional fulfillment. But what she's surrounded by is this constant, barrage of communication, maybe social media and things like that. But it's just feeling very cold, you know. Um, I like this. I think of the three that I showed here today, this is probably my favorite that I've seen, that I have shown. Now, I might have something else here, but right now I'm really enjoying this pairing. So probably we'll try them together, try to use them together. If you have picked up the deck and you are pairing it with something, let me know. I don't have the Woodland Wardens, obviously, as I would have shown it here today, because I'm guessing that would be a lovely pairing as well. I don't have that one. So, but I like this. That is the Totem Guardians Oracle. So just to keep with the soft watercolor animal, let's try the Spirit of the Animals. This is the older one by Jody Berksman. I have the newer one as well, but something made me think about this one. And I just wanted to see how they would go. So let's try it. We have Old Soul with the Page of Cups. Interesting. But it says here, you can create your dreams. So that makes sense with the Page of Cups and that inspiration and the dreamy nature of the Page of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. So what are you waiting for, right? The Jaguar also looks like he's kind of sitting there waiting. He's tired, but it's like, no, you haven't reached the end yet, right? We're not dead yet. So it says freedom with the Nine of Swords and the Five of Wands, freeing yourself from, all of this anxiety and these petty things, petty arguments, and things stopping you, these little nitpicky things. You have a greater purpose. So just try to rise above it all. The Grace, Three of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles. Being the one that in the group is the more nourishing, graceful one, bringing that energy to the group that you're working with, to the project. Ladybug with the World. So we've got good luck with the World and the Moon. The world is uncertain right now. So, but you are bright energy, it says. You bless the world with color. And good luck. This one is personal choice with the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. Yeah, I like this. I could work with this for sure. And I think that, because this is so RWS, this does have a lot of information on the cards. And then there's the guidebook and there's a lot going on. So I feel like I can pull one of these and then, if there's questions that I want to ask myself, I could use the tarot to ask those questions or to work through to find the answers. So I like this one. This is the Spirit of the Animals Oracle. So those are my first impressions of this lovely deck. I have another deck with her artwork, but it's a very different vibe. This is all the animals, and if you're an animal person, an animal lover, and you want to work with animal energy in your cards, this is definitely one to consider. Um, especially for a beginner because it's so very RWS. I'm also kind of excited about the fact that I like it with that Totem Guardians Oracle, which I haven't been using much. So maybe that'll get me to get that out. So I always like it when one deck kind of gets me using another one. So so that's helpful. That's wonderful as well. Look how cute these are. They do look very RWS laying out like this, don't they? The colors she kept that color scheme. So I can see it here when I look at it like this. So thank you once again to Andrews McNeil for sending this one over. I'm looking forward to using it in that Instagram challenge and to further use it going forward. I have, I'm always looking for an animal deck that resonates with me, like an animal tarot. And I have been having a lot of trouble finding one. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm looking forward to it. It's very RWS, and I do love an RWS. I also like how big these cards are. I think it's just because I like the artwork. I have another deck of her artwork, but the cards are smaller. So this is nice to see them in this like large format. That's just like a personal thing. I don't like the spider though. I mean, that could have been smaller for sure. For sure. Okay. Um, but aside from me being a hater when it comes to bugs, I really enjoy this and I'm looking forward to trying it, especially using it in the next couple of months because it feels very autumnal. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of the deck. If you have it, if you're pairing it, if you're using it, how it's reading for you. How are you feeling about the guidebook? Let me know all the things in the comments below. If you want to pick up this deck or anything else you saw here today, those links will be down below. You can check them out. And if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot and oracle. If you like the video, definitely make sure you give it a thumbs up. Those are very helpful. Also a hype if you're seeing it in the first couple of days. And I love this little duck. I'm going to leave him there. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye-bye.